crossing the line in search of a better life. It's one of mankind's oldest stories. And in America, immigration is behind one of today's fiercest debates. But tonight we bring you a story that transcends the argument with a 5-year-old boy whose mother broke America's rules only to undergo a forced separation that broke her heart. And there may be thousands of invisible cases just like it. Tonight, ABC's Brian Ross investigates. Brian?
Bill, this is a heartbreaking story of how a 5-year-old boy in Missouri has ended up in the middle of a tug-of-war over who his parent should be. A tug-of-war triggered by this country's crackdown on illegal immigration and the subject of an ABC News investigation conducted with 5 journalism graduate students assigned to work with us as Carnegie Fellows. His name is now Jameson, put up for adoption to Melinda and Seth Moser of Carthage, Missouri, after a judge there ruled his birth mother had abandoned him and that he would be better off with the Mosers.
I could not love him more had he come out of me physically.
But now the adoption is being challenged, and next month the Mosers will face the prospect in court of losing their 5-year-old son, who they say knows only one mommy and daddy.
Tried to do everything that we can to raise our boy as our son, and he's our son.
It is a sad story, but not just for the Mosers. This is Jameson's biological mother, Encarnacion Romero, a native of Guatemala, who says she wants her son back, the son she named Carlos or Carlitos.
I need him to feel my love as the mother of Carlitos. I'm the mother of Carlitos, and I need for him to be with me soon.
It's been 4.5 years since her Carlos was taken away from her and put up for adoption. Against her will, she says.
I never gave my consent for the boy to be adopted. I couldn't give the adoption. Even though I was going to be deported back to my country, I wanted to go back with my son to Guatemala.
Even though she now lives in the same town, just blocks away, she is not permitted to see him while the case is pending.
I start crying and get sad because he's not with me. I need him with me.
The last time she saw Carlos was the day she was arrested in a federal immigration raid at this Missouri poultry plant and ended up helpless in a federal prison 900 miles away.
I started to ask for help and ask what could I do to find out where my son Carlitos was. Nobody could help me because I don't speak English.
The judge ruled her incarceration amounted to abandonment and terminated her parental rights because she failed to maintain regular visitation or contact with her son, a difficult task from behind bars. In effect, her lawyers say, Encarnacion's punishment for coming to work in America illegally was to have her son taken away.
Regardless as to how you feel about immigration, this country protects family rights, and immigration in itself is not a reason to terminate parental rights.
Yet with a growing number of illegal workers being held at the 18 federal detention centers around the country, human rights groups say thousands of families are being torn apart by similar rulings.
We're creating a collateral consequence in which thousands of children are ripped away from their families with no real process for being reunited.
When parents are detained, often moved far away without notice, their children appear to local judges to be abandoned, with the parents unable to respond.
Both the immigration systems and the child welfare systems, whether they intend to or not, are participating in a process that separates kids from their families quite often forever.
Jameson, or Carlos, is just one of the estimated 5,100 children in 22 states who were put in foster care or adopted while their parents were detained or deported.
Is there a federal requirement when someone is detained that if they have children, special accommodations have to be made?
There is no federal requirement.
So the agents just ignore that, as if it's not a factor?
Some will pay attention to it, others won't.
Others say the blame belongs to the parents for coming to this country illegally in the first place.
That is in the nature of what happens. When parents break the law, they undertake a certain amount of risk. There are going to be consequences.
In the case of Encarnacion, the judge concluded that smuggling herself into the country illegally is not a lifestyle that can provide any stability for a child. But he apparently ignored what Encarnacion's lawyers call the serious criminal history and drug use as a teenager of Jameson's adoptive father, Seth Moser. Moser and his lawyers declined to be interviewed by ABC News, but have said that Moser has overcome his criminal past.
You can't comment on the case at all?
As for the judge, David Dolly, he told ABC News he stands by his ruling.
Obviously, I thought the judgment was fair when I issued the judgment, yes.
But the Missouri Supreme Court has overruled Judge Dolly, calling his decision a travesty of justice. For now, Encarnacion has been allowed to stay in the U.S. so she can go to court to fight for the return of the son she has not seen in 4.5 years.
I'm thankful he's in good hands. But as Carlito's mother, I need him to be with me because I'm his real mother.
The fate of Jameson or Carlos will be decided in a new trial set to begin February 28th in Missouri. A different judge has been assigned to the case, and advocates on both sides of the immigration debate are weighing in on the difficult decision that will shape this little boy's life.